I can't tell you how many times I've sat and looked at my schedule, and I finally learned that just because my schedule is incredibly full doesn't mean that's going to be an exhausting week. And what I've decided is there's certain activities I do that fuel me, and there's certain activities I do that deplete me. And you said something like the brain. Oh, what did you say? See, now my menopausal brain's kicking in. But you said there's an expense, and then there's like a net expense and a net influx.
A net gain or drain.
There we go.
So let's do this, because not everybody's in menopause. So I want to kind of broaden it, right?
Yes.
So
great.
This is kind of me going through it myself and getting that time off and those medications. But here's the problem. When I was on stress leave, I was off for almost 3 months. And in that time, nobody really, it's like 3 months later, I was sent into the ring for round 2 with no idea of what got me there or how to do it differently. And so Powered by Me is my answer to that gap. And so going through it myself and knowing I needed to figure it out, me helping tens of thousands of patients and colleagues do this is what I came up with. When you think on a physical level, I think of the very first and most important thing someone should be thinking of is, do I know how to decipher the unique language of my own body? Meaning, my own physiology. So when my throat constricts and my stomach turns, do I know what that means? Or do I just assume it's a nuisance that I need to power through so I can get things done? Do I listen to when my heart races or my stomach turns or I'm sweating? Or do I just try to move right through it? So each of us has a unique language, physical signals that our physiology is giving us all the time. Even right now, as you're listening to this, feel your bottom sitting on the chair, feel your feet on the floor, and just notice, are the muscles of your body, when you take a deep breath, are they open, relaxed, and light, or are they constricted, tight, and heavy? Is your right hip trying to get your attention? Is your knee or quad annoying you? Did you work out and do you feel sore? I don't know what it is for people. It's unique for everyone, but your body's talking. The question is, are you listening?
Right.
So physically, I break it into stress and hormones, okay, under the physical.
Yep.
Food is fuel. Are you fueling yourself with processed foods out of boxes and, fast food and whatever? Are you someone who thinks thoughtfully about how you nourish yourself and through the day, how that happens? Do you plan it? Or is it kind of like a surprise after effect at 2:00 in the afternoon and you're like, oh, that's why my stomach is like eating itself because I never ate. So it's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, ask yourself, how satisfied are you with your nourishment and your food? Then go to movement. And do you have ways to joyfully move in your body multiple times a week? And sleep. So for sleep, it's like, ask yourself things like, so people are supposed to get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night. And we're supposed to really be able to cycle through 90-minute cycles at least 4 times. A lot of times now, what do? We have farmed it out. We have rings. And we look at our readiness score to see if we're rested. Like, we don't even check ourselves.
It's so true. It's so true.
We're like outsourcing whether we're rested. So do you wake up in the morning and do you feel rested? So that's a great way to, so then what I do is I have them, so that's the physical, that's in general the physical section.
Can I ask you a question on the physical? Because one of the things that came up in therapy when I was talking about burnout with my therapist is one of her questions to me was, tell me what you feel in your body. And I said, I feel completely disconnected from my body. Like I feel like my head and my body are just two different things. Is that, so when you took us through that exercise, is it important to also point out that some of the people listening may just be like, I don't even know, like check in with my body. Like there's just no body awareness. Is that also a physical symptom of burnout?
So that I want to say congratulations to anyone listening that says, yeah, that's me. Because congratulations, you're a master of the external world. You have successfully cut off your connection to your physiology in order to perform in the world. So whenever that happens, what I do is I tell people to kind of take an AirPod case, take a smooth stone, take something that fits nicely in the palm of your hand. And in your next meeting, okay, when something emotional comes up, when something surprises you, you can do it at the dinner table, you're in a conversation. Ask yourself, well, what do I feel inside my body? And if you're like, nothing, I want you to say, I can feel this in my hand. So take something from that outside world that you're a master of and hold it and bring it in. Because pretty soon you're going to be like, oh, wow, my jaw. Oh, my God, my jaw is tight. Oh, my right shoulder blade kind of, it feels tight in my chest. But what sometimes we have to do when we're masters of the external world is, this is what we got accolades for, performing externally. That's how we got belonging. That's how the world thought we were successful. So yes, no doubt that we have done this been cultured to do this. Perform for our parents, perform for our family, get an A, make money, get promoted, right? This is what we get all the likes on social media for. Yeah. So the answer is yes. Many, many people are there. And if you're missing all the early signals, then I shouldn't have been so surprised when I was powering through everything with Mountain Dew and Snickers bar and telling other people to eat a low-fat diet, that I was the one who nearly hit a brick wall. Wow. Right? Wow. So absolutely. The other thing I would do is I would write down any physical symptoms you have, perhaps reflux, perhaps back pain, perhaps, whatever it is. Write those down as well. Now, what I do at the end, so we're going to give you your own burnout assessment opportunity where you're going to get an interactive way to do this yourself. And in 15, 20 minutes, figure out where you are from burned out to fully charged. So in the physical section, when I get down there, I say, now look at the answers that you just wrote down for the physical section. And then I want you to check in with your body. And does it feel, as you're focusing on these things, does it feel heavy, tight, and constricted? Or does it feel light and open? Because if you're like this, yeah, I eat fine. Yeah. I don't need to sleep that much. I'll catch up later. Yeah. I'm really satisfied with all these things. But your body feels heavy. When your mind and your body are not in sync, net drain. So these two it's not just you answering the questions. That's why I put a 6 little mini video series with it. So I walk you through each one and tell you, now pay attention to your body. Okay. So physical, that's physical. And if you give yourself a score less than 10 out of 10, right? 1 to 10. I ask you, just tell me what would make it a 10 that you would be satisfied. So I want you to know, I'm not telling you need to eat 4 cups of leafy green vegetables. I'm asking you whether you're satisfied. How satisfied are you? Because that will also tell you when you're less satisfied with something, that's a great place to start, right? Yeah. Because that's something that's really upsetting you. So now let's move to mental. Mental is your thoughts and how you form them. Let's say I said to you, oh my God, there's an opportunity to go bungee jumping. What's your first thought that you'd have?
I'm scared of heights, so I would say, hell no, have fun. I'm not, I would not.
You wouldn't be into that. But then imagine our other friend who was here would be like, I can't wait to feel like I'm flying. Okay. And another person might say, those things I'm not sure if those things are safe. Have they been safety tested? Okay. So same situation, same data. One of us might personalize it to myself. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I literally am going to die. Another person might,
that's what I would think.
Yeah, so we might project it onto other people. Oh, that's only for people who are really athletic. Or we might say, I don't know what the safety testing is on that, and go bigger than me or you. If when
Yeah.
things happen, people typically pick a way of responding. They didn't pick it, but there's patterns. Like when I was young, I was raised by my grandparents for the first couple years of my life. When I moved back in with my family at 2 years old, I thought I had done something wrong to be sent away from my grandparents. And so I was really devastated. And from then on, I decided if anything went wrong, it was probably my fault. So
Wow.
that's personalization. So you can see now in the world how I can take on much more than my own responsibility. That's personalization. And so in this experience, that would be a net drain of energy, because normally each experience in life has some combination of it being about me, something about you, and something about things bigger than us. Each conflict, each interaction, all of that. All right. Comparing and judging other people, comparing yourself to others and judging, different ways that you think about work and how it should be. When someone disagrees with you, do you let it expand your perspective and do you get curious, or do you dig your heels in and double down on being right? All these are examples in the mental section of the questions I'll ask you. And then notice at the end whether you feel like your body is, open, relaxed, et cetera, or it feels heavy, tight, constricted. Net gain, net drain, and mental energy. So now let's do emotional. Emotional is really easy. Emotional is like, how good are you at handling tears, anger, anxiety, grief, trauma, loss, apologizing, forgiving other people and yourself, and play and joy? So the reason I said it's easy is that the topic is not easy, but the question is easy. If I want to know whether you're having a net gain or a net drain of energy on an emotional level, I'm going to ask you this. Tell me in which areas of your life you are avoiding a challenge or a difficult conversation.
Yep. Yeah.
Is it at home, at work, socially, financially, entrepreneur? I don't know where it is, but if you can tell me where that's happening, all of a sudden your body's going to do this thing. And then tell me where you're getting, a rise in energy and play and humor and all of that. Right away, you're going to know. Okay. For social energy, this one's an easy question too. It's basically write down the 5 people or groups of people that you spend the most time with online or in person. And then as you bring those people to mind and write them all down, focus in on the first one. Now you got to tune into your body. When you're with these people, do you feel a net energy gain or drain via your constriction, tightness, heaviness, or open, relaxed, energized, right? And you do that for each of the people. Then you look at all 5, and then you say, okay, overall, how am I feeling, right? How am I experiencing this? And then the last one is spiritual. And basically in social, it's about you really want to pay attention to being able to give and receive feedback. You want to be able to know whether you're talking, when things upset you, do you talk about people or do you talk to them? Do you know how to lean into healthy conflict? Do you know how to set expectations, make clear agreements, draw healthy boundaries? So it's like all your social interactions, if you're somebody who avoids conflict and says yes when you really mean no, and you don't know how to draw boundaries, you're going to be doing a dance and taking on too much, right?
Yep.
And then when we move to spiritual energy is so fundamental. People are like, I can't believe you put spiritual energy in a business book or a book on, burnout for working at home. And I said, well, spiritual energy is the most important one. And what I mean by that is it's about knowing what you value. It's about when you know what you value and what's most important to you, what matters to you. Let's say your top 5 values. So mine are love, integrity, service, play, and beauty. If I know that those are what matter to me, it helps me. I become much more effective in making quick decisions that align now, short term and long term. I can move forward and pivot in a pandemic, in a crisis, because I know what matters most. Right. So there's lots of benefits.
It's a value
because
system.
in spiritual, it's your value system,
It's a value.
which is like
It's a value. It's like, having an ethos really matters. Yeah.
Well, it's your spiritual GPS, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How do you make decisions, especially in a world moving faster and faster? Like, if we don't have all the data and we've got to make a decision, how are you going to make it? You better be connected to your own body. You better see how you feel, how risk averse are. That's another piece of spiritual self-trust. So one of the questions I ask here is, tell me where you'll take risks and tell me where you avoid risks. So for a long time in my life, I would take risks mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially, and entrepreneurially. Not so much physically, like bungee jumping and all that, and not so much romantically, because my heart had been crushed. And so if you see where people take risks and where they don't, you know where they trust themselves and where they don't.